Hey guys, this is I'm doing a quick. Well, I don't know how quick it will be. We're doing we're taking a look at the Nvidia Slam Play trade from Monday. It was shouted up in the room by a few of you, Els and a couple of others. Said, "Hey Kelvo, take a look at Nvidia. Is it setting up for a Slam Play?" And I said, "Well, you guys tell me. Is Nvidia setting up for a Slam Play?" And I think the reason I said that is because I think you should all know what a slam play looks like by now, and I wanted you to confirm to yourselves that you did indeed know what a slam play looked like. And this was a slam play, a nice hard drop in the morning, a gradual curl over, rejects around the VWAP area, and comes back down to here. Now let's just pause this a second. Actually, let's go into real time. Okay, so let's just pause it here 1 second, okay, because it was around here that you shouted it up, okay, and I want to go through the things that I said on the day, and I want to look at the things, I want you to try and get into my head of what I was looking for on this trade. Okay, I took the trade, we all, some of us took it, we all took it together, and I told you exactly how I was going to play it and what I was going to do. I told you my entries and I told you my exits, I think, pretty well throughout the trade, and I know what my entries and exits were. I'm going to try and get the same, roughly the same entry and exit points using this. I don't know how fast it will go through. I know my entry was actually 150.63. I got a very good fill on it actually. I think it had gone slightly through there. And I was surprised to see that my fill was 150.63. I was expecting it to be closer to 150.55, something like that, maybe even 150.50. It had definitely gone through anyway, so I did get a really good fill on it. My fill was literally the low of day break line, which I was really pleased about. I remember saying to you guys that I'd got a really good fill on that one. So yeah, I'm going to set play and we're going to look at I'm going to sort of go through the trade as I was talking to you about it and tell you what I'm looking for as if it's in real time. Obviously this is simulated. I'm in no way trying to say that this is a real trade. However, this does simulate the real trade that we did take last Monday. Okay, so let's get play. Okay, so basically what I said we were looking at here is I was looking at it for it to show positive signs that it was going to break this low of day and not bounce off it. I was watching the level 2, I was watching the time and sales. I said what I would do was I would wait for it to come through, I would take a chase size position, and then I would bank on it coming back up and testing this area here or the moving averages. The size that I took to begin with was 50 shares, which I've got here, 50 shares ready. Okay, and I took it literally as it came through. Now I knew with 50 shares I was prepared to give it up to this area here, and I would have only been taking a sort of a $70 to $100 loss even if I gave away 2 points per share. I was okay with that, okay, because I saw the potential to the downside. I didn't believe I would take a loss on it, however I was prepared to. So I noticed on the level 2, somebody asked me the day after what made me think it was going to go through. Why did I take it at this fill? What gave me the conviction? What gave me the conviction was when the price point reached here, this low of day here. Everything was on the sell side. The level 2 was stacked up. Nobody was buying at that point. The level 2 was completely stacked up to the sell side. I could see panic, I could sense panic, okay? I could sense that when that goes, everybody wanted to get out, and that's exactly what started to happen. So I'm going to get ready to short it here as it breaks through. Because this is on demand, it might be a bit jumpy. I might get a sloppy fill compared to where it was, but we'll try our best. Waiting for it to come down, waiting for it to come down. At this point, the level 2 was starting to stack. The time and sales started to speed up when it got to this 150.63 point. I could see it going through. That's why I took the trade literally as it was breaking through. Sometimes I would give it to 10-15 cents the other side and take a chase on it, but I could just tell this was going through. Okay, so we're just waiting for it to break, waiting for it to break. Okay, I'm just going to pause it a second. I don't know if my order box is set to auto. Just give me 1 second. There we go. I think that's right. It's on auto send. So we're about to short it as it breaks through. It's hesitating, it's building. I'm pretty sure this is where it, well, I know for a fact this is where it went through. Okay. So we're in at 150.58, which is fine, it's close enough. Now what we're prepared to do at this point, so you can see here, this is our fill here, this is our open P&L. This is the shares. We've got 50 shares short, so you can see what I was risking at any one time. I want you to feel comfortable with what I was doing. I only took 50 shares, remember. Okay, we weren't betting the house on this. Now, I said at this point is we start to mark up some levels. Okay, so we're going to add up, we're going to put in point at 150. Okay, that was what I was looking at essentially. I thought maybe we will come down and see 150. Maybe it will bounce off 150. And I think at this point actually I took off 25 around 150. As it held 150, I took off 25 just to, I know it sounds daft, but just to lock in $25–30 so that if we come out, it covers, it, you know, potentially covers a good bit of the loss. Because I thought if it holds here, it could well come back up again. Most likely it's going to come back up and test this area. And I said, if it does that, then I will reshort it. At least I've locked some money in the bank. Small as it is, we've covered the potential loss. So we come down here, we hold this 150 base here. I'm pretty sure it actually bounced off it. I was waiting for it to break, and I saw some buying pressure, you know, I think some cover, probably got some short cover here, and we also got some buyers looking for a bounce. So once it held, I bought 25 shares back. And that's as close as we were. I'm pretty sure that was my fill around there, 150.05, 157, something like that. And then it's a case of just sitting and seeing what happens at this point. Okay, now as I said here, expect this bounce, expect to push back up into here at least. If we get a rejection here, then I will take it roughly here on the curl over of the rejection. If it wants to push further, that's fine. It very often does actually push up into the moving average 20 area, so I was more than happy to give it to there and see what it does. If it got much over there, then maybe we would have taken it off and then reset and waited for another opportunity, waited for another entry. It was just a case now of riding the 25 shares left and either being disappointed if it failed at this point and just taking what it gives me, or hoping that the bounce theory on these slam plays would come to fruition and that we would get an opportunity to reshort it and put some decent size in. Can't quite remember how low it went. Wasn't much further than this. I think it bounced. I think from here it bounces back up towards the moving average 20, because that's roughly around there where I reshorted. So we'll see what happens. Okay, here we go. So it's pushing up, pushing up. So what you mustn't do is play your open P&L at this point. As we've not, I mean, you could have taken 200 shares there and locked in a big thing, but this wasn't. It was a bigger picture trade. Okay, we were looking to get in for a good quality ride down. So I just wanted a starter, I just wanted a nibble, I just wanted to get a feeler for what was going on. So at this point we mustn't start looking at the P&L. Okay, we've locked some in, we've got a small open P&L, we're not even looking at that now. We know that if it comes back up to here, we're not going to take a loss on it really, so there's nothing to worry about whatsoever. It's just trying to remain calm at this point and thinking to yourself, well, what's the very worst that can happen at this point? I'm going to take a, what, $20–30 loss, something like that. It's nothing to worry about at all. So it's starting to falter around here. What I'm looking for at this point okay, is a red candle really. I'm looking for a candle to actually hit its head on this, or to push through and hit its head on something and show me a sign that it's coming down. So I'm not going to be impatient here. I'm going to wait. I'm going to let it show some, show me what it wants to do. Okay, we'll speed it up. Okay, I'll just pause it while we're waiting for the action. Okay, so we've had a push into the moving average 20, and it was somewhere around here that I took some more shares. Okay, so I took another 50 shares here, and then I took another something else. So I'll just show you my next entry was around here. Okay, and then it came back up and it tested the moving average again. I think the 20 again. It pulls down and then it pushes back up again, and I took that as another opportunity as it came back down through the 9 to add some more in. It wasn't quite yet. Okay, at this point I thought that was it. My position was done, filled. I was going to leave it to do its thing. But then, if I remember, we did get another, I'm sure we got another push up here. It gave me an opportunity to put a few more in. I might be wrong, I'm pretty sure, because I got I had more shares on than that. I'm sure there was a secondary push up to the moving average 20. Up here. Another bounce. I think it was another bounce off the whole number up to here on a fail, which gave me some confidence to add some more shares in. I'd say I kept it small. Wasn't going to go out, wasn't going to go in with any size on this. Just wanted to see what we could get from it, really. I think at this point my thought process was, if it slams through here, I'll probably just add a few in. If it pushes back up and does it, I'll add a few in. I wanted it to make up its mind what it was doing. It's trapped between support and resistance now, as you can clearly see. I was kind of just waiting for it to decide. It could have held here and pushed further back, so I didn't want to chase. I really wanted to let it make up its mind and give me an idea what it wanted to do. At this point I was starting to think that this was it, that it was going to fail, which would have been fine. Only 75 shares on, so it wasn't going to do any damage, but it was here now, as it fails this 20 again and pushes down low here, that I added to it again. And I added in 100 shares. Just around there. I'm going to say it was there. I can't see quite what the fill is, but anyway, that gave us our position, and that was what I was prepared to, that was my final stake on it. It was either a case of, okay, if this fails now, then I'll take a loss, and if it works out, then that's brilliant. I'm glad that some of you guys did take this trade. It's these slam plays, it's like Pat says, that they're such a good setup. The whole thinking, the whole psychology behind them, the push down and then the long arc over. As it starts to fail here, I mean, everybody can see this. It is failing. So there's two things that can happen. It can hold and bounce, and I've seen that, but more often than not, it will sometimes hold and bounce small, bounce small, bounce small, bounce small, and push through. But once these bounces get smaller, you can get that bounce, but it's a smaller bounce and then a smaller bounce. As the bounces get smaller and smaller, the likelihood of it slamming through becomes higher and higher. is you just got to be careful with this bounce. I've seen some of these bounce literally to the cent and then push back up $5, 5 points a share. So don't think just because you're taking it there that that's it. You can just leave it, and if it fails, you need to take it off. Okay, if it's failed, it's failed. You need to give it to your moving average, give it to your resistance, give it to your whole number, wherever you've decided you're giving it to, and take it off if it doesn't work. Okay, now it's failed the whole number. Now it's starting to work out for us. As you can see, we're starting to get it, some money coming in there. Don't let it freak you out. Okay, it's just a figure, it's just a green number. Okay, it's not your money, it doesn't belong to anybody at the moment. It's just a green number, ignore it. We're trading. Okay, we would have the daily chart up as well with some support and resistance marked up, but we're just going to let it do its thing now. Okay, we're just going to let it do its thing. But there was such a nice way of trading this, and I'll show you how that nice way was. Now, we need to mark up another area here. Okay, so we've got the whole number here again. Okay, let me just pause this. 1 second. Pause. Sorry about that. So yeah, we have to mark up the chart. We've got 149 marked up there. So the first thing we need to do now is to see what's it going to do at this 149. There's no real reason for it to base out here. There was no pivot points. There was no, there was no fib levels. There was nothing really there to stop us from going. So you just got to understand that this is Nvda. It's something that moves a point. It can move a point in a candle. It can move half a point in a candle. So you can't go getting freaked out when you see some of these green candles when you're short. You've just got to put your levels in and let it work between levels like it did here. It worked between levels. Here it's working between levels. Okay. The next thing we can look at is, well, if it starts to fail, we've got this. It's highly likely that it will come back up and test this. It could still do that and reject. If you get that, you could add you could easily add more shares in, because you probably got a better price as well. You can wait for it to falter at support, and if it does that, you can take off half your position again, wait for it to come up, test resistance, add to it again. Okay, and that's exactly what I did. I took some more off. I know what my price was, and it was below here. You can take some off, and then if you get another opportunity, you can put some more back on again. And that's a good way of, as long as it's coming up high enough where you're not destroying your average. With these little things where it's a point here, a point down, a point up, you're not destroying your average price. It does give you an opportunity to put some money in the bank and then to have another stab at it when it comes back up to the area roughly where you took it in the first place. Let's just fast forward. Okay, I'm going to pause until it comes down into the area where I was looking to take some off. Okay, so it's down in this 149 area here. Okay, and it was around here I took off some shares. I think I took off 75 shares at this point. I have it written down somewhere, but I didn't take it here though. If I remember rightly, I missed it there, and I was kind of a bit peeved because it really pushed up high, but I think it gives me a second opportunity, and I take my shares off somewhere around here, wanting to obviously make sure I lock in some money on it, but then it gives me an amazing opportunity to put some more in, which you'll see in a minute. So it's just trying to balance that happy medium between being greedy and milking the cow. If you're too greedy, you'll easily give, you got $160 there. You don't want to give that back to the market. I don't care who you are. You don't want to give it all back. $180, $200. P&L's moving pretty quickly. Bear in mind this is speeded up 3 times, so you don't want to give it back, but at the same time you don't want to take it all off, because there's a high chance with Nvidia doing what it was and the market doing what it was that we'll get more on this trade yet. So find that happy medium between paying yourself and, you know, making sure you get the most out of the move as possible. So I'm going to say it was roughly here that we bought 75 shares back, because it did break here, but not by far. I think as it comes back up through the 149 is when I covered some more shares. So I'm going to take that there. So we've locked in some money, and we've got some nice money in the open. Okay, now we're going to relax, let it do its thing. I'm going to put in my next short order. I know I did, and we're just going to wait. I'm just going to pause it while this catches up, because I know what happens next. Okay, so this is what I'm talking about with big candles. That's a pretty big candle. Okay, that's a point, that candle. Now, you must not get scared by big candles. Okay, something that's dropped like this is going to find short cover. You know, there's going to be a lot of people in this from VWAP area. There's going to be a lot of people in this from earlier in the day. And they're going to be looking to cover at some point. And if they think that maybe the bottom might be in, then you're going to get this volume which pushes up some short cover. Okay, this was, for me, I still had some shares on, and I was prepared to give it. I was prepared to give it to here. I thought if it breaks through this point, then I'll take them off. And obviously, what could have been a good trade isn't such a good trade. But at least I was locking in some money. Okay, we've locked in some profit. We've got $157 locked in. If it breaks here, it's still below. It's still around the average price. So nothing's going to take away that $170 now at this point, really. So my next thing was, my thinking here is, to be honest with you, I'll stay with the position I've got unless we get a push up to this line here. If we can get a push up to this previous support line, which will become resistance. If we can get that, then I'll add to it, because I won't be destroying my average price. My average price is 150.39. I didn't want to destroy my average price on the video. Okay, I didn't want to take it again down here, because then if it doesn't work and comes back up, I'm starting to give money away. So I'm happy to keep these 100 shares I've got left. I'm happy to keep them at this point unless it comes up. And this is, I've done this so many times before, where it's come down, it's come up and rejected hard and then sold off later. So that's what I'm looking for, because the idea of support becoming resistance is one of the strongest, you know, one of the strongest little chart plays you're going to come across. That it proves weakness. Once that support line becomes a resistance line and proves itself, it's proving weakness. Okay, now I know I reshort it somewhere around here. There is another opportunity. Okay, I'm gonna, as soon as I get the opportunity, I will take it, because obviously this is playing 3 times faster. So as soon as we're up around that line, we get the nice rejection on a candle, on another candle, and then a red one starts to form, and I take it just below the moving average 50 line. It wasn't yet. It pushes up and then it fails, and as it comes back through that EMA 50, I take a few more shares. And that's it. At that point, I set my stop. I set my stop to just above the support line, and I leave it. I'm not going to set a stop on this because I don't know. I don't know how to. It doesn't really matter. Okay, at this point I actually thought I was probably going to get stopped out. To be honest with you, I thought it was probably over. I'm going to take it now, because that's roughly where it was. It might come up. No, I think that's the candle I took it on, the first red one after that green, and that's it. So now we've got a position at 100 150.36 is our average price. 175 shares. And that's it. At this point I set the stop, and we sat back and we said, let's leave it to see what happens. Now I know for a fact some of you would have probably taken all your position off in here. That's okay, as long as you made money. I was okay. I'd already locked some in. I've seen Nvda do this too many times, and I just had a feeling that something bigger was to come at some point in the day. With the market being how it was, I struggled to see it recovering at this point, because it's bounced and failed. For me, that was proving weakness, and that's all you need to see in a chart, really. is just proven weakness. You know, it doesn't really matter what indicators you put on the chart. It doesn't matter what anything else is telling you. This line here is all you need to know. Okay, this support. Okay, there's a reason that found support there, and I'm not gonna stick 10 different indicators on to find it. There's a reason it found support there. That doesn't matter. All that matters is that this line was support, and once this support broke, it became resistance. Nothing else matters when you're trading than support at resistance. If you can understand support and resistance, then you can make trades based upon that. Okay, so now it's starting to work out really well, as you can see. Somewhere around here, I take some shares off. I started to peel off in small lots here, and I think it was when it held this line here that I took some more off. Okay, so I'm going to take off 25, and I did peel off in 25s in this. I didn't want to take too much off, but I love the idea. Once you're in the money, bearing in mind with like a TEFS account, you're paying $1.50 every time you take it off. Well, I'm taking off 25 shares that I'm up over $1 a share on, so I'm okay. I'm okay doing it on 4, 5, 6 lots on something like this. If it means I'm putting money in the bank and leaving money to milk the cow, that's absolutely what we're looking for. I know I love taking off in 25s when I'm up in the money. So it holds this line here, this 149. And at this point, I'm kind of thinking, my thing now is I'm just going to exit this how I would normally exit any stock, by using these moving averages. And, if we get a push down to lower levels and a pop back up, take off 25. If we get a hard push up through the moving average 50, take off 25. These moving averages are too close to the price action, given how wicky and how, should we say, aggressive the candles are at this point. It's quite, there's a lot of fighting going on between buyers, sellers, short coverers, etc. at this point. The moving averages that I would normally use for my exit strategy, they're too close to these candles. They're permanently poking through, so I'm not going to use that. I'm simply going to use support and resistance levels to take off. I'm going to watch the price action. I'm watching the level 2, and I'm kind of just relaxing with it and saying, well, it's underneath here and it's over the top of there. What it does in between there, I don't really care. I'm going to let it do its thing, let it prove itself, let it tell me what it wants to do. Okay, if it breaks down below the 149 again, that's great. If it then comes back up, then I'll take some more shares off. Okay, and that's the way I like to do things. If it breaks down my level and stays below it, I'm staying in. If it breaks below it, comes back up, I'm taking some off, because that might be my last chance down at these levels. So we're back below the 149. So now we've got to mark up the 148, which I would have already had done in fairness. There we go. So taking some off here, which I know I did because it's holding the 148. So we're taking off 25. I took off 25 at that 148. It's a price level, it's a support level. If you've got a decent sized position on, you're always wise to pay yourself, take some shares off. I know 25 is not a lot, but you can see we're putting some money in the bank here. So let's not ignore money in the bank, okay? As it starts to hold this level, comes back up through here, we take some more shares off. Okay, and that's the way we do it. and then it comes up above the moving average 50, we're taking more shares off. We're paying ourselves, but we're trying to leave a little bit on to see if it'll work. Not a lot. We got 125 shares left. Okay, there's no way I'm going to let 125 shares go back up to there. Okay, because we've got a really good average price, and we're doing well on the trade. So the fact that it's holding this 148 baseline now here tells me, is starting to tell me that this might be it. You know, these slam plays can be anything. They can be we've had 2 points out of it, bear in mind. You know, we got 2 points per share on it. That's a good trade by anybody's standards. So we're not going to be greedy. This may well be the bottom. This might be us done for the move. So we're going to get ready and take some more shares off. At this point, I actually took off 50 on my next buy, and I took them off as it broke the 149. Okay, I'm going to pause it while it gets there. Okay, so it's around about this point now that I took off some more shares, so we're going to take off 50 shares here. Okay, we're down to 75 shares, and we've locked some, you know, we've got some money, nice money locked in there. It's kind of, you see, it's putting in these little higher lows. It's held the whole number. This is what I'm thinking. It's held the whole number. Each one of these candles is putting in a higher low, higher, 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 higher. You can see if you draw a little line, it's starting to trend up. So at this point, I'm thinking, yeah, the move may be probably over. So let's make sure a good majority of our position is taken off. Let's make sure the money is in the bank. Okay, if it breaks through the 50 here with authority, I'm going to go down to 25 shares. Okay. At this point, go down to 25 shares and set stop, you know, to like 151, 151.07, whatever, above that line there, and then at that point we just leave it. We leave it to do its thing, okay? Because, like I said, it could be over here, and I'm not really one for giving back all my money, so we need to let it do it. As soon as it breaks through the moving average 50 with authority like this here, with a proper candle with authority, and I'm taking another 50 off, which will leave me with 25 shares. Now 25 shares isn't a lot, but 25 shares can add up if the market shits itself, if we get a real push down. You can get another few points off it sometimes, and hey, 25 shares can give you another $50-$75, so it's always worth leaving that 25 on. And at this point, what's the worst it can do? It can take what, 25, 30, $40 off us. Well, we've got enough money in the bank to risk that. It's worth risking 50, possibly gain 100 once we've already got money in the bank. You know, as a risk reward for an actual trade, oh, it's not the best, but it's worth it to gamble with those extra shares. Bearing in mind, these shares are all free shares because we took our money there. They're all free shares that we got off this retrace up into here was a gift. It was a true gift. So everything we've got now is really, it's all a gift we got for nothing by seeing what was going on and adding to this position here. All the money we've made down here has been a bonus that we weren't really expecting. So you can play with that money. Okay, so here I'm doing exactly what I said. We've got 25 shares left. I am now setting my stop to here. Okay, see that candle there? Okay, you can see that candle came into 151.05, so I'm going to set my stop to just above it around there. I'm going to leave it. Okay, so let's imagine the stop is set. I don't know how to set a stop, as I say, so we're just gonna pretend that the stop is set there. We'll put a line in. Okay, we'll put a line in. There. Okay, that's our stop. All right. There we go. Okay, so I'm going to pause the video and I'm going to let it grind away. Okay, and we'll see what happens. Okay, so just to explain what's going on here now, the stock is basically consolidating at the moment. It doesn't know what it wants to do. The market at this point wasn't looking too great either. The market was consolidating also, and it doesn't know. If we break 148 at this point, it's going to crack. If it breaks out over here, it's going to rip. Between here and here, nobody knows what they want to do. Nobody really wants to long it. No one really wants to short it. I don't know. It's just doing nothing. So that's why we've got our 25 shares left and we're just going to leave them. We can't base anything on any of these candles. All we can do is look if it's trending. But we've set our stop and we're not going to touch it. We're not going to interfere. We're going to let the powers that be decide. Okay, either the bulls will win and the market will take us out, or the bears will win and our 25 shares will carry on working for us. That's it. There's nothing else to think about at this moment in time. The market takes us out or the market gives us money. Okay, so we set our stop, we leave it be, and we carry on trading, looking at other things, which is what we did. We forgot about Nvidia. At this point, I think most of you are out or had 1 or 2 shares left. And that's all we do. We forget about it now. We don't look at it. We carry on looking at the scan. We look for other plays. We forget that we're in Nvidia for a while. Okay, so I'm going to leave it running and I will pause when something else is happening. Okay, so you can see here through the consolidation that it keeps hitting its head on the 150 and rejecting the 150. For me, that's a really, really good sign. Although it's trying to push up, this 150 line is starting to become a real boundary for Nvidia here. So sitting back, just enjoying it, starting to give me a lot of confidence. Not thinking of adding or anything like that, but it's starting to give me confidence that this thing actually is looking like it wants to fail. We've got all these tops here. Sooner or later it's going to fail, and I'm looking really at now. I'm looking for a 148, and then we'll see what's happening. So again, put it back on pause, and we'll join it in a little while. Okay, so at this point it's looking like it's ready to crack, and I'm feeling pretty good about the trade. Okay, we've still got 25 shares on. I mean, it's not a lot, but it's 25. This is the 25 that works for us or doesn't work for us. Sure, if you're aggressive, you could have added some here, that type of thing, but I'm not aggressive. I'm quite happy with some money I've made, and I'm quite happy to ride the rest out, you know. But the fact that this is cracking here is starting to tell me that we could actually see another push down to a new level. So sitting back, not going to touch these 25 shares until, as I say, until we get a real reason. Now, you notice how the price action is starting to go down pretty fast, and it's really starting to distance itself from these moving averages. So it's at this point that I will probably use something like the moving average 20 as a guide. You know, sometimes if we get a push back over the 20, depends how far it is up to the 50. But now we've got cleaner candles, we've got less indecision. So probably use the moving averages as a gauge for taking the last 25 off now. Start moving the stop down, move the stop down to 150, just over 150 from there. And let it do its thing now. Okay. Okay, so we're coming into the last sort of 10 minutes of the trading day here. Let's have a look. Okay, there's 4 o'clock. There's the market close. Leaving that last 25 shares on. This is such a good example of using the money you've made by risking a small amount of it to make this. Look at the resolution we've got with those last 25. It's not a lot. It's not paying us out big time, but you know what? It's given us an extra $110. Look, $116. Okay, because when we were up there, that was basically flat. So just to do that, we were risking about 30 and we're gaining 120. So it really is a good thing to do, guys, is when you've made money and you've put money in the bank, is to just take that last quarter of your shares, the last eighth of your shares, it doesn't matter, try and leave just something on, just in case you get this. Now we may not have got this, we kind of got lucky with it, but I'm pretty sure that some of you guys in the room took this trade too. And I mean, look how this thing's dying off here, you know. Look at it. This is putting money in the bank. This is free money. Okay, free money. This is absolutely like someone coming up to you in the street and giving you 130, 150 bucks for nothing. This was free. You know, we took an extra trade there, we put a stop, we let this work out, and now this is just our little gift for being patient. If you're still in your full position, I'd probably be pissed off with you, because you know, it's silly. Not taking shares off here is silly. There's, like I said before, you've got to get it right, that happy medium between paying yourself and leaving some on. And this is the lotto play. Put some on, leave some on, set your stop, and let it pay you out. Okay. So obviously at this point, the only thing we're going to do is make sure we cover up position before the market closes. Make sure you've got everything right. Make sure, you know, don't leave it till the last 3 seconds. Give it till the last couple of minutes, and see what it does. It just literally keeps going down, 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 down. I think my last cover was around about 144. I think my last cover was 145 actually, around here. As it came down, and you know, obviously, got to cover at some point, haven't you? So if we keep the video short, if we say that we're buying our last 25 shares now, okay. So you can see basically, you know, 400, 450, 460 dollars on a trade when we were never risking more than about 75 at any time on. It's a nice trade. It worked out well, and that's basically how to trade a slam play. Okay, sorry it's gone on a little bit longer, but hopefully you'll stick with it and you will have learned something. As I say, entries and exits were pretty accurate to my entries and exits within, you know, within 10-15 cents here and there, but it was speeded up. It was a good trade. It was a good shout from Els and a couple of you other guys in the room. I wasn't looking at Nvidia at the time. It was a good shout. We took it, we traded it exactly how a slam play should be traded. Hopefully you guys have learned something from this, of how to set your stops, how to manage your risk, where to risk off, what support and resistance does for you in a trade, how to take off shares, how to leave some shares on, where to set your stop when you're leaving some on, and how to be patient and sit back. Hopefully you've understood what this consolidation was. It was just a simple case of two areas of support and resistance, and in between them nobody knew what was going on until a decision was made. And it was at this point here that a decision was made. Test, 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 and you can see here, nope, it fails. This is the decision area here. It falls away, it breaks this support. From that point on, it could hold here, but it was only going to go one way from this point, and that is down, 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 down. Okay, so be patient with these trades, guys. You know, I was saying in a few reviews this week, I see a lot of people taking all their shares off at the first sign of a red candle, a green candle, sorry, when they're short. You get this candle and you shit yourself. You take all your shares off. You can't do that. You have to set your support and resistance, and understand that price action on these higher price stocks will sometimes look a little bit like this. So stand your ground, okay. Decide where you're going to risk off and let it do its thing, let it work out. And if you're risking off proper support and proper resistance, more often than not you will find they will push up, but they will fail those areas. You have to believe. You have to believe in yourself. You have to believe in the things that Pat and that I and Eric and other moderators and other people teach you in the room. Okay, if Pat has appointed somebody to a position in the room, it's because he trusts them to give the right advice. So if you're asking advice from people, you have to believe sometimes that it will be good advice. Okay, and obviously the lessons that Pat and myself do for you, we're not telling you bullshit here. Okay, we're telling you things how it is. Support and resistance. Trust it, believe in it, okay, and trade around it. Hope this has been good for you guys. Hope you've enjoyed it and learned something from it. Okay, so call it a day and get on with my next training video. Okay, so adios until later.